All right, sounds good. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking out your time, joining our very last Human Service Committee call. It might be the last one, but it isn't. Okay, it isn't.
I foresee future meetings, but it's the last one for this month.
Okay, the last month. No, it's just been a while since we've had one. We've had a lot of collab meetings with other committees. So, but nevertheless, I'm Jarrell Gray, co-chair of the Human Service Committee, along with is that Claire Jean. You want to do say hello? Get if you just turned your camera on.
Good evening, everyone.
Cool. And we have a couple presentations tonight. First from the Maimonides Medical Center, speaking about their partnership with New York City Health and Hospitals. And we have Douglas Jablin, apologies if I mispronounced, as well as Amir Abadi.
Perfect.
Yes. So I'll kick it off to you.
Douglas, why don't you start us off?
I work for Amir. He's my boss. No, but Amir, he's very good. He speaks beautiful. After he speaks, you'll understand why he's going to do my funeral when I die. Go on, Amir.
Well, let me give Douglas a proper introduction. Douglas is Mr. Maimonides. He's been a part of this hospital for 50 years. If you've ever had an experience with this hospital, Douglas is the reason that experience was wonderful. I am a student of Douglas, trying my best to learn anything I can from the man, but I'm here to help educate the board about some conversations we're having regarding our partnership with health and hospitals. And Douglas is here to just make sure I do a good job.
No, you're the best.
I appreciate you, Douglas. All right, so let me share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. We'll go over it, and then I'll open it up for some questions. So, all right. Can everyone see my screen? Should have a nice blue PowerPoint presentation up.
Yes.
Beautiful. So again, my name is Amir. I'm the Director of Community and Government Relations. I'm joined by the great Douglas Jablin, our Executive Vice President of Community Relations. We are with Maimonides Health, and for those who have not interacted with us, we are 3 hospitals and 80 locations across the borough of Brooklyn. Our main hospital is in Borough Park, but we also have a community hospital in Midwood, in your community board, I believe. We also have the Children's Hospital, which is a hospital within our physical hospital in Borough Park. It is the epicenter of pediatric care in Brooklyn. Within our children's hospital is also Brooklyn's first pediatric trauma center, which we recently opened last year. We are an advanced stroke center. We are a level 2 trauma center for children. We have world-class cancer and breast center. We deliver 5,000 babies annually with 800,000 outpatients annually in the borough of Brooklyn. We consider ourselves a major cornerstone of Brooklyn Health, which is why we want to educate the community about an important conversation you might have heard or might have seen in the papers that's underway right now. Over the past several years, safety net hospitals like our hospitals have faced significant systemic challenges. For those who don't know, a safety net hospital is a classification the state designates a facility that receives a disproportionate amount of its patients from Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare is the insurance that covers the elderly. Medicaid is the insurance that covers the people of high risk need or low income. Those two government programs do not pay what the market rate does, but they do provide care to the most needy. Hospitals like ours receive 85% of our patients are covered by those two programs, which means we are Brooklyn's largest Medicaid provider by the volume of care we issue our inpatients. The thing that you need to understand about having that much dependency from those two government programs is those programs pay 70 cents on the dollar when it comes to Medicaid and 82 cents on the dollar when it comes to Medicare, which means we're receiving less per patient to provide the high quality care we provide. And that number keeps growing as our dependency on these government programs increases over time. 45% of commercially insured patients are going to Manhattan, which means we are actually subsidizing the hospitals in Manhattan by sending our wealthier insured patients to Manhattan hospitals for them to receive that better reimbursement rate for getting their care in Manhattan. Just to give you some general idea of what that looks like, it means you could get world-class heart surgery in our hospital or you could get world-class heart surgery in a Manhattan hospital. And for the exact same procedure, the exact same outcomes, the Manhattan hospital can see 6 times the reimbursement rate, depending on the insurance you provide, than we do. Because if the person who came into our hospital receives Medicaid versus the person who goes to Manhattan has private insurance, that payment the hospital gets has a significant range of how it actually is transmitted into our balance sheet. Safety net hospitals have been dealing with significant financial strain for years, and Maimonides is not special here. And we've been working to address this for years. And it's important to understand that this issue has not come overnight. It's something that's been building over time. As more and more of our patients become Medicare and Medicaid dependent, those programs have also not kept up with inflation. As you can see by this chart, since 2006, Medicaid, private insurance costs have increased 61%, while programs that are supposed to supplement those programs, Medicare and Medicaid, have only increased moderately. Medicaid in particular has been frozen essentially, with only seeing a 7% increase over the last 20 or so years. It's important to understand this because I want you to understand that the financial outlook for our organization has been in a bad rap for years, but it is now in a crisis. Luckily, though, while all of these conversations have occurred, we've managed to continue to provide high quality care, and we've been a part of a coalition across the state trying to address this. Labor costs for providing healthcare have continued to increase. The fact that the state and the federal government have been flat with their Medicaid reimbursements has been a challenge for our ability to operate. And federal budget cuts that recently were enacted also provide us with a dire outlook for the near future. And I say all of this to explain that we're not unique. This is an issue hospitals across the country have been dealing with for some time. But we are particularly focused on addressing this issue because the quality of care we provide at Maimonides is something we're incredibly proud of. And making sure that quality of care continues has been a focus of our organization for several years now. In 2014, we were instructed by our board of directors to make a concentrated effort to find a partnership that could address this fiscal outlook I've mentioned. The conversation that we're going to discuss tonight is a manifestation of that research, that search we've been doing over years. And the core principles at play for that search have been making sure that any partnership we look into to address our physical challenges maintains or expands the care we provide, continues our mission to serve the community we're looking at, but doing all of that while strengthening our financial outlook in the long term. So with those core mission objectives, we've been having several conversations over years with different partners to find a partnership that is true to our values, that allows us to continue to be the organization that our community is dependent on. While we are having this conversation, while we are doing this research, we still continue to provide excellent care to the people of Brooklyn. We have managed to really invest in our infrastructure, invest in the care we provide. We're proud to say we've opened a Bay Ridge Emergency Department in 2023. We've expanded our NICU in 2024. We opened Brooklyn's only standalone children's emergency department 2025. We've maintained high patient care satisfaction scores for years. We are the #1 children's hospital in the country, top 1% nationally in survival rates, incredible accreditations across the board. So I want you to understand that the juxtaposition of our financial challenges has not impacted our ability to provide quality care. And it is because of that that we have decided to continue this conversation with a partnership. The thing that made this partnership unique to any other partnership proposals we've considered is the state. The state has decided to intervene to encourage this partnership by providing a $2.2 billion state transformation grant, which will cover operating costs and capital improvement costs if Maimonides and Health and Hospitals furthers this partnership. Now, that is $2.2 billion over 5 years that can be invested in significant improvements this hospital needs and to provide a level of budget stability we have not seen in years. The most important thing that patients would see from this, in our opinion, is the implementation of Epic. For those who've ever attended Maimonides Clinic, we have 14 different medical record systems. It is a dated system, but the impact that has on patients is your experience is lagging because your doctor, your lab, your secretary scheduling your appointments are talking on multiple different systems. The standard now is Epic. It is a standard that most medical facilities use that our hospital has struggled to invest in. The cornerstone of this grant is investing for us to be integrated into the Health and Hospitals Epic network. We're hoping, we know actually, based off of experience and based off of the fact that we've seen it across the healthcare sector, that once Epic is integrated into a hospital's network, the patient experience, the doctor's experience, the staff's experience is streamlined because they're all speaking the same language across platforms. So we're very excited to have Epic as the cornerstone of the capital improvements we're going to see, as well as the financial stability this grant provides us as an organization to plan our improvements in a more strategic way than we've been able to do. Another important thing to understand about this partnership that's unique is, as a safety net hospital, we do not get reimbursed what a public hospital gets reimbursed. It's a little technical, but basically, because Health and Hospitals is a public hospital, when they receive a Medicare or Medicaid patient, they actually get a better reimbursement rate for those patients than even we do. By going under the umbrella of Health and Hospitals, that comes out to an additional $100 million of revenue we will see by providing the exact same care that we do now. That's a significant increase in our bottom line on top of the grant that I mentioned. This is a reason why this conversation is is something that we're very interested in pursuing and that we're very optimistic will get done. With all of this stability of funding, with this grant, with this increased revenue stream, thanks to being a public hospital at the end of this process, we are looking to be the place where Health and Hospitals directs its specialty care. Right now, Health and Hospitals does not have the network of cardiac thoracic surgeons or the world-renowned cancer treatment facility that we have. And by becoming a part of the Health and Hospitals family, our specialty care can see an influx of Health and Hospital patients. That will be another form of another way that the people of Brooklyn will see streamlined care. They won't have to go to Manhattan for their care. Health and Hospitals will be directing people to the services that are provided right here in Brooklyn. We also believe that they share our values, and that's an important thing that we've been pursuing. The money here is an important thing, but it is not the ultimate thing. Doctors are providing high quality care for the people who need it, and we want to make sure we're a part of a system that values that. And that is an important thing that the public hospital system has demonstrated to us, and we will continue to use that shared goal to march forward in partnership with Health and Hospitals. Our partnership with them allows us to coordinate care across their networks. It allows us to invest in our equipment, in our facilities, and our staff's capacity, and it allows our specialties to get access to a network of patients that they would not have available if we remained a private hospital. All of this means that we are currently in conversations, and those conversations are pretty far along and they're looking promising, with the goal of having a finalized transaction for the state to approve by April 1st of this year. There's a lot of details in this transition plan that are still in the works. Some will be finalized by the April 1st deadline, others will take some time after. But the most important thing that is happening now is the transition to Epic has begun, and we're hoping in the next year or so, patients will feel the experience change when they communicate with Maimonides, as we are part of the Epic network. We want to continue to communicate with our community partners, with leaders in the community about this conversation that's unfolding. For now, we wanted to put this conversation on the radar of our community leaders to make sure they were not hearing any misinformation or not knowing who to reach out to for updates. After April 1st, when some of the details of this partnership are ironed out, we would love to circle back so we can report out the specifics of how this transition is going to look. For now, there's a lot of lawyers in a lot of rooms talking about the details with the shared goal of making us a part of the Health and Hospitals family. Douglas, would you like to add anything before I open it up for questions?
Believe me, nothing will be changing. I think everybody's thing will be the same. You know, like I always say, the only one that likes to change is the baby, but this had to come upon right now. And the new president that's coming on, she's really a wonderful lady. She has a wonderful, before her, she has a great name out in the community, and she really wants to do the right thing.
Yes, and just to add to what Douglas said, we just named the new CEO who will be taking over if this does finalize today. She's the current CEO of Coney Island Hospital, who would become the CEO of our hospital in the transition.
Latana. And she has a great reputation. People really like, I got a lot of phone calls from A to Z, and they really were complimenting. She really cares for the patient and the families.
So, are there any questions?
Well, seems like a lot of exciting stuff going over at Maimonides. And Douglas, I see why Amir is going to be speaking at your funeral. That was a very clear presentation, so I appreciate that.
Are you going to
Um,
attend? Are you going to attend?
am I going to get an invite? Is it going to be public? Let's
Yeah,
let's
but
not. I don't actually don't want to talk about your death. Let's not talk about your.
Miss Campbell will get the, she'll give you the, she'll get the list.
Let's
Okay.
not get ahead of ourselves.
But I do have a couple questions. So this is going to be the entire system. I think I've seen 3 hospitals. Is the entire system now transfer over to New York City Health and Hospitals?
Correct.
And then my second question is after April 1st, barring any delays, does this transition just happen like automatically? Do you automatically be a part of the New York Health and Hospital system, and then like the funding and everything comes through, or there will be like a timeline for you to officially transfer over?
Great question. So April 1st will give us the timeline for it to transfer over. It won't all happen seamlessly. Essential services would transfer over on April 1st. For example, payroll, things like that. And that's the focus. We want to make that April 1st deadline so the essential things can be done first, and then some of the other details will work itself out in the timeline that we'll be ready to announce after April 1st. And what this transition looks like, there's a lot of details still getting worked out, so I don't want to dive into the weeds when the weeds have still not been developed yet. So, great question.
We're a great
Oh,
hospital. They want to make it greater. That's the whole situation.
And financial stability is the biggest challenge we've had as a hospital. We've done a lot without the stability of knowing what the next check looks like. This provides us with a level of financial stability we haven't had as an organization for years.
okay, thank you. I see Board Member Valentin. Oh, you're muted.
Good evening. Thank you. I want to say a great presentation, and my grandson is a patient at Maimonides Children's Hospital, and they actually saved his life. So I want to say thank you, and I think it will be a better thing for the community in a whole. And I also knew someone that had heart surgery there, and they did a marvelous job with her also. So I want to say thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
We're happy to hear that you're getting quality care from us. It makes us very proud to be a part of this.
Yeah, that'd be a great commercial if you hire her.
It depends on how much you're paying.
Okay.
We have a question from our district manager, Sean
I
Campbell.
think Nina had her hand up before me, and I'm happy to yield to Nina.
Thank you. My name's Nina Sabgir. I was actually the first midwife at Maimonides in 1992.
Wow.
My question is, of course, Maimonides has kind of been an anchor in, especially with the largely Orthodox community, but also with an increasing Chinese population and I guess Pakistani and Bangladeshi and other Muslim communities. And I suspect that there's going to be a lot of anxiety on the part of people in the community regarding whether those, the very specific cultural needs are going to continue to be addressed. And what are the plans moving forward, and how do you plan to communicate that to the community so that they still feel that it is their hospital?
Douglas, would you like to answer this, or would you like me to answer?
All right. I'm glad you, that's a very good question. First of all, we speak almost 160 languages at the hospital. We have a full-time mosque. We have a full-time prayer room. We have a full-time synagogue. and hopefully we'll be building a church. And also, I tell you the truth, our mortality rate, our death rate in the hospital is lower than any other hospital. And why do I say that for? How we treat each patient. I feel God really watches us, because anybody who comes in here is treated the same way. And, you know, like I always say that they should take the Empire State, not the Empire State, but the Statue of Liberty and put it in front of the hospital. If you would stand outside the entrance, you could see how every member of God's army, from every shape, every color, everybody, how each one just intertwines with everybody. And like you say, like the Orthodox community, the hospital is going to stay kosher. They're going to have the same, you know, traditions and stuff like this. But again, we're reaching out to everybody. It's everybody's hospital. And I tell you the truth, we're doing really fantastic. And off the record, we have a Ramadan dinner once a year. I started about 14 years ago. And then October 7th happened. There was a whole thing going on in the Middle East. You know, everybody knows about it. Everybody canceled out their Ramadan dinners, politicians, whatever. We were the only one that had close to 300 people at every Ramadan dinner. We never canceled it. So people really respect the hospital. They understand what we do for everybody. And again, the traditions, we're still going to keep the same traditions. But again, anybody that walks inside the hospital is comfortable. We have a full-time imam. We have a full-time rabbi. We have a full-time priest. Like today, yesterday was Ash Wednesday. There was lines of people, you know, waiting to get their ashes. You know, and I'll never forget one time. I'm here almost 50 years, and we had an elderly priest, and he said, "Douglas, could you hold this little metal buck, you know, little cup?" I said, "Sure." I was holding it, and they were giving out ashes. You know, I'm just saying, but Maimonides is a very, very special place, and it's really, you know, Miss Campbell, you know about the place, and I just tell you the truth. I'm here 50 years, and I'm just very, very honored working here because we're all the same. You know, 2% is only the color, and 98% is the real body of a person, and that's what we have to look at.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't say better. Thank you, Douglas. I'd just also add one of the big cornerstones of what's being negotiated is how to maintain our identity through this partnership, and our cultural ties is one of those things that is a very important part of the negotiation process. We're waiting to see how this finalizes, but that is something that is being spoken of top to the bottom of this organization. We have very proud traditions here. We don't want to lose such traditions.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you
going
for
to
that
start
question.
by making a plug for this book. It's backward in the screen, but Hospital by Julie Solomon. I'm going to bring it to the office. Board members are welcome to check it out.
You read
But
it?
it's yes, yes. It is a wonderful memoir from back in the day when the hospital was in a big pivot in the days of Pam Breyer and Stanley Brezhnev and Oscar Chowdhury from the Pakistani American community. Marty Markowitz plays a role in this all too, and it is one of those. A resident comes up from the Midwest and is just blown away by the diversity of Maimonides. So it's really a telling memoir, and like I said, I'll loan it out. I have a couple of questions though, and I first of all want to understand why the CEO of Coney Island Hospital would only become the CEO of MIMO if this goes through. Is it because she's only like a public hospital CEO specialist? Is that what the contingency is?
No, let me let Douglas answer this. I don't know if the town hall today provided the.
Well, Mitch Katz is the president of the whole H&H, and he has people working, you know, presidents of different hospitals. And this Fatana did such a great job in Coney Island, how she deals with people, how she deals with different communities and stuff like this. So he felt that this lady will be, you know, this person will be a phenomenal leader to Maimonides. Because again, without the communities that we serve, we wouldn't be Maimonides.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, cool. But anytime somebody new is coming in, not anytime, but it usually suggests that somebody else is leaving. And so could you talk about whether or not like staff losses, will there be more staff losses or more staff gains or just staff shuffling
Yeah.
with the change?
So C-suite is what I think we could focus on in this conversation. There will be some changes in our executive leadership. That is something we all expect. The actual rank and file staff will not see any changes. The nurses, the doctors, the other staff outside of the C-suite have all been given guarantees that there will be no changes. All labor agreements are being committed to. The non-union staff have a window of time where their jobs are guaranteed just to allow a seamless transition of the leadership.
And is there going to be a change in the utilization of the what we call the community campus on Kings Highway?
The plan
The
is to
community.
have continuous care throughout this process. That is the shared goal of both organizations. They are not trying to change us, they are trying to incorporate us into their family. Preserving our identity through the process is our shared goal because it is not our care is not the problem, our finances are. And simply by being a part of their network, our finances will be improved. So our care does not need to change at all. With
Okay,
that shared goal, how to do that is what's being discussed.
there are a couple of variance applications and approvals at the community hospital. I'm going to just call it that for ease. Building. And so, well, let's stay in touch about whether or not this change slows anything down, hurries, anything up, because some variance approvals are already sort of with Department of City Planning. And then finally, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit because as Jarrell pointed out as soon as you concluded, there's a lot of exciting things and you did a great job of highlighting the positive benefits of this change. But what are the downsides? What were sort of the pressure points and downsides, and what hurdles do you still see having to get over? And then, of course, how could we help?
Yeah. I think the biggest hurdle is creating seamless transition here. This is something that the city of New York hasn't done in 30 years, I think was the last time Health and Hospitals incorporated another hospital into its network. So we're breaking quite a bit of ground, and making this transition as seamless as possible has been one of the things that we're continuing to discuss. And it's one of the reasons we're actually doing more community engagement than we would do on a normal basis, because we want to hear feedback about what people are feeling, what people are seeing on the outside, because there's a pretty massive conversation happening internally about how to preserve our organization. So people on the outside looking in, telling us what they're seeing, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, that's an important perspective for us.
Okay, you could have come here sooner, though. I mean, I'm glad that you're here now, but you have been having these conversations for a long, long time. And if April 2026 is sort of your essential service shift date, it's not that it's not it doesn't feel that early. So
I
more
totally
and
agree.
sooner in the future. Thank you.
Yes, we would love to be back before the summertime, so I will circle back to you on that once there's more details about how this partnership looks. But I agree with you. This actually came out of left field for us. The governor put us in a grant application that it was like a shot in the dark for us. But once that grant lined up, this $2.2 billion, it's such a game changer to us financially. All green lights ahead in this process because of it. That we didn't find out about that until November. So thank you. I think there's still one hand
He's got a
raised.
commercial lady who wants to say something.
Yeah. So what about the nurse to staff ratio? Is that gonna change? How, and if so, how?
Yes, there are going to be no changes to any of our labor agreements. So the nurses just did their contract with us a month ago, I think. That
Mhm.
agreement will be honored throughout this transition.
Okay,
Also,
thank you.
also 1199 is going to stay the same also.
Awesome.
And our doctors too.
We have a few questions from a board member in the chat. So the first question is this partnership driven primarily by financial pressures?
Yes, we've been pursuing partnerships for years because of the financial pressures.
Okay. Next question is how will debt, capital improvements, and operating losses be handled?
Could you clarify the question?
I'm not sure, but I'll ask our board member, Osman Nizzi, to please clarify the second question while I ask her third question. The third question is, are there state or federal initiatives tied to this collaboration?
Yeah, so the state transformation grant is the main financing mechanism that's making this such a financially promising program for us. It's a 5-year, $2.2 billion investment in both operational support and capital support. Uh, on the federal side, it's actually the opposite of that, in that the recent reforms to the recent reforms to Medicaid and other insurance coverage has made the financing for us even more challenging in the near future. So we are now in a position where we are more eager to have these conversations than we were just a few years ago, simply because our dependency on Medicaid is going to cause us a tougher time financially in the next couple of years than we originally projected.
Thank you. And our chair, Carl Henry Cesar. Carl?
Thank you so much, Yvette. Folks, good evening. Thank you so much for this, Amir and Douglas. Yeah, so my question is regarding the 2.2 billion from the state. And so I apologize in advance for this question. The 2.2 billion over 5 years, is that guaranteed? So basically it doesn't matter what the state fiscal outlook is for the next 5 years, that is guaranteed money, or is it for now it's 2.2 billion, but next fiscal year, maybe it has to be revised down 2 billion minus whatever's been paid out, right? That's my question. Is it locked in, or is it like,
Great
this
question.
is what we want, subject to rosy picture, right? That's it.
Great question. This is a grant. It's a contract the state is signing with us if we go through this process. So we're making a partnership agreement with the state and with health and hospitals that this partnership, we are satisfying our end, the state will satisfy their end by providing us with this funding. It's the same thing. It's the same type of commitment you would get if you were a vendor with the state. A grant is a contract the state signs with us.
Thank you. So that's locked in for the 5 years. Okay,
Yes,
got it. Thank you.
if approved. So the key is the April
Oh,
1st
yes.
deadline is the,
Okay,
so
understood. Got it. Oh, so then follow-up question. So then pending that April 1st like approval, would that impact the value, or it's just, hey, that just impacts the start date of the disbursement of the funds, right? Like whether it's April 1st or later, that just impacts the disbursement date, for lack of a better term.
yeah, so the key is on April 1st, we have to prove everything we applied is going to happen. And one of the first things in our application was we will be a part of the Health and Hospitals family. And until we are a part of the Health and Hospitals family, we're not getting anything from the state. Great
Right.
question.
Thank you for that clarity. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I have clarity on the previous questions from before around debt. Excuse me. So the question is, will existing debt remain with each institution or be restructured under a shared financial model? And is either party assuming liability for the other's outstanding obligations?
Yeah, that's something that's currently being discussed with the attorneys. I don't have an answer for you at the moment, but I'll be happy to put that in my presentation when I circle back with you.
Okay, and then a follow-up, is there a shared capital planning strategy for the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah,
If one equity operates at a deficit, how will that be addressed? Will there be pooled revenues or separate financial reporting? Are there any contingency plans in terms of projected cost savings if projected cost savings are not realized?
great questions. So the commitment we've gotten from Dr. Katz, the head of Health and Hospitals, is the money of Maimonides stays with Maimonides and is invested in Maimonides. This is not a cash transfer where we are going to subsidize the rest of the network. They want us to preserve our financial independence. So as for the capital improvement plan, that is something we're currently discussing now. We have a capital plan that we've just concluded, and we're preparing to create a future capital plan in the next I think it's the next years when we want to unveil that, which would create a roadmap for how this organization is going to grow over the next decade. Now that we have this financial stability, fingers crossed, God willing, that this partnership will create our ability to plan over the next decade will be significantly improved by more stable financial outlooks.
Sean, go ahead.
Just sort of a bigger picture as another Brooklyn Public Hospital, SUNY Downstate, struggles to stay afloat. And I guess I'm wondering if their fate has been part of your conversations, if there's, as one hospital becomes public and another might have to fold in the not too distant future, or is there something about MIMO becoming public that could sort of help bolster SUNY? Or are they in, is the backdrop of SUNY in the conversations of Maimonides at all?
Yeah. I have not heard anything about SUNY's circumstances changing in any way. I know that our hospital has been partnering with SUNY. They're instrumental in our neurology department and other aspects of our hospital. So there's already a relationship there, and we're all already in a relationship with health and hospitals. I don't know where the future of that goes. I don't think anybody does at the moment. In the short term, though, they're not a part of the conversations we're having directly with health and hospitals.
Sean, can I kind of jump in on that? With what I do know. I mean, first of all, Kings County is already the major seat of NYC Health and Hospitals in Brooklyn, and they are literally back to back with SUNY Downstate. But I know that SUNY got now I don't remember the numbers, but I think $7 million grant, maybe bigger than that.
Bigger.
Maybe I'm like way under, but they got a significant financial bolstering from Albany to renovate. I mean, they just need massive
Right. No,
renovation.
we
Other
know, but
kinds of things.
but that was sort of a lifeline. So, and Carl's been very, very steeped in those conversations.
So I don't. I mean, I haven't heard anything on.
And we have another question in the chat from board member Nuzzi. In regards to community health, does this mean that Maimonides will begin to accept New York City care recipients as clients, especially for behavioral health?
Yes, that's one of the the aspects of our conversation that we're still having. There's certain commitments that health and hospitals has generated regarding what insurance they receive that we're still working out. So yet another thing that I will circle back to you at a later time regarding.
Are there any other additional questions?
May I just say one thing?
Sure.
You have to compliment your district manager. She really worries about everybody. She's really on top. You're very lucky to have her.
Yes, we are. Thank you. Definitely.
Thank you all for
Thanks for
having
the
us.
kind words.
We appreciate you
Thank-
taking the time to chat with us. And Sean, please, we'll connect so we can do a follow up sometime closer towards the summer when I have even more to report.
Thank you so much
Your
for
time.
this information and being with us tonight.
Thank you so much. And anytime anybody, just give me a call. We'll take care of you. And like I said, we have one of the best maternity floors, right?
Amen.
All right. You be well, everybody.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you, folks.
So now we will have our second presentation, which is on free tax prep. As everyone knows, it's tax season and other services provided by the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. Is our presenter Ali Bavid?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much,
On?
Yvette.
Welcome.
Yeah, but I'm having some tech issues, but let's see if we can work it out.
Okay.
I will try presenting now and let's see if it shows up. I am doing it from my phone right now, but let's see. It should work. Hi, are you guys able to see my screen?
I can see it. Are you
I'll
able
make
to
it bigger.
speak? Like, I see something. Yeah,
Is this bigger? Better?
Yes, this is better. At
that's
least,
better.
Great.
yes.
Thank you so much. So my name is Ali. I'm a community affairs associate and the Brooklyn person for the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. So what does our department do? The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, we actually have quite a broad mandate, right? So not only do we go after businesses that are scamming New Yorkers, we also go after employers that are scamming workers, right? So you might have heard about some of our biggest wins, especially ever since we have gotten our new commissioner, Sam Levine. We have been going after big actors like, for example, Radiant Solar. We recently went after Radiant Solar, which is a solar company um, that have been like deceiving New Yorkers for a very long time, entering people into predatory loans without their consent, and many other deceptive tactics that they've been using. So our agency, our lawyers are suing them for $20 million, um, for both for restitution and other and penalties as well, right? So that's, for example, that's some of the consumer work that we're doing, right? In terms of the worker protection work, we recently had a major win. You might have heard about the Starbucks baristas that were striking. We reached a settlement in the last couple of months of $39 million, and that's going right back to the workers, right? And then part of that is will also end up being penalties that are paid to the city. Another example of another win, if you will, we recently sued Uber, DoorDash, and other similar companies and won $5 million in restitution for our delivery workers, right? So, in terms of workers' rights, a lot of the protections that are not afforded at state or federal level for many of our workers, including delivery workers, nannies, home health aid, and many of the sectors that are very predominant in the city, right? And don't receive adequate protection are given protection at the local level, and those protections are enforced by our agency. But another mandate that our agency actually has is financial empowerment, right? So it's consumer protection, worker protection, but also financial empowerment. Part of our financial empowerment work that we started doing is through the New York City Free Tax Prep Program. Some of you might remember me speaking, but the Free Tax Prep Program started as a way to help build wealth for working class New Yorkers and also help protect them from predatory commercial tax preparers, right? This is something we see very often. Complaints that we receive, people that we interact with, a lot of immigrant community members, as well as working class community members, share horror stories about getting scammed, right? One story I heard last week, delivery worker who he's been filing taxes for a while now, but last year, his filer took uh, the entirety of $4,000 that he was going to receive. And these are the kind of stories we kept hearing, right? So we DCWP on our legal end, we go after a lot of these commercial actors that are violating the rights of people, right? Violating consumers and their rights. But then this program really started as a way to make a direct impact, uh, keep people away from those predatory tactics altogether, right? The way this program works is that our department provides grant to organizations that are willing to become hosts, right? So some of our organization that we work with are Grow Brooklyn, Center for Family Life, Arriva, Urban Upbound. Those are some of the big names that we have. Single Stop being another one. Um, so those are our main organizations that we fund to train our volunteers. So this is a volunteer run program. The tax filers, the individuals that people are going to see if they make an appointment, are our volunteer tax preparers, right? But our volunteer tax preparers are rigorously trained. They're IRS VITA certified, and they also receive supervision from our staff members as well. This program really it the good thing about it is it amplifies the amount of money, right? It yields a massive return, because all of our staff members are paid for sure, right? But and the grant that is that the organizations are receiving. However, the volunteers, they multiply the impact we're making. So last year we helped 100,000 New Yorkers file their taxes, saving a grand total of $33 million last year. And this year we're hoping to break that. So partly why we're reaching out to community members and raising awareness about the program. Um, there are eligibility requirements. So if you are a family with dependents, that income is $97,000 or less. And then if you're a single filer, that in order to be eligible, you need to make $68,000 or less. Part of the part of what our program hopes to offer to people, um, is successfully claiming the credit uh, that they can claim. Um, the most important one being earned income tax credit. That's very important. Many scholars call it the largest anti-poverty program in the nation. Um, but there are 800,000 New Yorkers who qualify for earned income tax credit, but many of them, hundreds of thousands of them, do not claim that credit, right? So part of the goal is bring a lot of the federal money that is out there in forms of that can be received in forms of tax refund are not being claimed, and so we want to access that pool of money and give it back to the working class families of New York. um, those are the general requirements. Our programs are confidential. Any conversation that is happening with a volunteer tax preparer stays with the volunteer tax preparer. Um, our program is also available to people regardless of immigration status. I'll get more into that afterwards. There are various ways you can file your taxes with us. The vast majority of our program is in-person tax prep, where you sit down with a volunteer preparer, you bring all your documents, you do your tax return, you file your tax return together. We also have drop-off service. So the other services sort of grew out of in-person based on the needs of the communities that we were hearing. Um, so drop-off service is really for individuals who might not have the time or the opportunity to sit down with a tax preparer. So the way it works is you'll collect all your documents, you'll make an appointment for drop-off, you'll drop it off. A volunteer preparer will fill out your tax return, and then you'll come pick it up and answer any questions in that sort of exit appointment, if you will. There's also a virtual tax prep option. It's been really popular with our younger generation, if you will, but also for folks who might have disabilities and are unable to leave their home. So virtual tax prep option sort of opens up a new avenue of accessibility for people who might not be able to leave their home. And then finally, we have assisted self-preparation. If you want to do your own taxes, that is totally fine. You can file using our software. But the good thing about using our software will be that you'll have someone on the phone that you can call or email to ask for help. All right. And so these are the documents that are needed when you file with us. The first one being a photo ID. We accept ID NYC. As well as tax ID, that could be social security number or ITIN number. So this is where we help immigrant community members as well, regardless of whether they have a social security card or not. If they want to file ITIN with one of our providers, that's something we can help them with as well. You'll also need to bring proof of income. That could be W-2, 1098, 1099, or income and child expense and expense records if you have that. One important thing to note, we also have business owners year around. We have specialized centers, specialized providers that help small business owners. But there is eligibility requirement for that as well. If you're small business owners, your expense need to be less than $250,000. Childcare expenses, again, to get a bigger refund, people should bring receipts of daycare and other things that they are other college tuition for kids and things like that. They should bring to their appointments. Bank account and routing number are more important than ever. IRS is phasing out paper checks, so people who are something our department does as well is we have the Office of Financial Empowerment that actually studies New York City. We have in many neighborhoods, we have a large unbanked population. That becomes an issue when people do not have relationship with the financial institution, when they don't have a bank account. So we're encouraging people to make a bank account, to create a bank account so they can receive their refund in a timely fashion. And then signatures of both spouses are needed if they're filing a joint return. We strive to make all of our services language accessible. So while I only speak Bengali and English, there are other our providers speak various different languages. They speak Spanish, Arabic, French, Haitian Creole, Russian, and many others. Right. So when you visit our website and click on a location, it will show you the language that our provider can um, give services in. Um, this is the portion where we help our help our small business owners, self-employed individuals as well. Anything from so small business owners, if you are aware, they have to make quarterly estimated payments, filings, right? That's something we can help with. And that for small business owners can mean thousands of dollars a year. We have specialist site, particularly one in Grove, Brooklyn, which is in Flatbush, offers this service year round. Sunset Park has Center for Family Life, which also offers services for small businesses year around. And we have over 140 sites for personal in taxes. But a lot of these sites will close after April, but our business sites remain open year around. We also help host workshops, create toolkits for businesses. Part of our agency also licenses over 45,000 businesses, anything from tow truck companies to your 99-cent store. Gets in some form is licensed by us and regulated by us. We want to make following these regulations easier. So our website actually has templates, templates, for example, how should a sales sign look? How should a refund policy look? We have templates for that to make it easier for small business owners to follow the regulations the city imposes. All right. And then how do you find a free tax prep site that's near you? You call 311 and ask for tax preparation, or you can go to our website, nyc.gov/tax prep, which will show you the map that's on the left side. We have a lot of local providers. We have elected officials who like to take part and bring our volunteers and become a tax preparation site. We have local CBOs. Libraries are a big part as well. And I think in your community district, Kojo is one of our biggest partner. Um, Council of Jewish Organizations is definitely a very reliable partner for us in that location, and they offer many languages. Um, and this is, let's say, if you are not filing with us, if you're paying someone to file, right? You have rights. New York City has some of the strongest consumer protections. As a tax consumer, tax services consumer, you have a right to receive a copy of your tax return, an itemized receipt, and your personal papers and documents must be returned to you upon request. The last portion is very important because there are bad accountants. There are good accountants, there are bad accountants, unscrupulous accountants who will sometimes hold on to papers they know that are important to immigrant workers, to other workers as well, so such as work permit and others, and refuse to return them until a payment has been made. In situations like that, we would highly encourage people to file a complaint with the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and we will work on getting those documents back, holding the bad actors accountable. It is illegal for a tax preparer to charge a fee based on the in a form of percentage based on the amount of tax you owe or the refund you're going to get. So imagine if you're going to get $5,000, it is unlawful for them to charge you 20%, 10%, 30% of that total. Something else we're warning people about are instant refund. There's really no such thing as instant refund. It's a misnomer. It's a deceptive tactic. Many more often than not, it's refund anticipation loans. So we've been encouraging consumers to ask, hey, if a tax filer tells you you're going to get your money today, ask them, is the government giving me the money? Which is a big no. Or are you enrolling me into a loan, a high interest loan, which is what it ends up being? And as you guys probably know, this is based on an estimate, right? So the government might give you less refund, and now you end up with a loan that has a much, much higher amount that you have to pay off. Things people should review on their tax paperwork. Name is very important, mailing address, bank account information, but also whether or not your private tax filer actually signed the preparer section, right? If they have not signed their tax preparer section, that leaves you liable for any mistakes that might have been made. So individuals who are just giving, not checking, double checking their file returns, it's very important to do so. Particularly on the last point, your preparer should be signing your tax return. So if anything goes wrong, you're not the only person that is at fault, right? You have your tax preparer that you can hold accountable. Yeah, phasing out. We have something called, it's might not be well known, but it's called the Safe Start accounts. New York City partner. We have very strict requirements for banks and credit unions to become our partner. Um, it's a service. It's a banking service that's offered by the city, with no monthly fees, a low minimum balance. I believe it's $25 a month that you need to keep, and an ATM card. That's really to help people who might be skeptical about banking, or are 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 not happy about the fees, because it can really start eating away. Um, and if people are saving little by little, that can be a big cost, right? But all of these accounts, they don't have monthly fees. So if you go to nyc.gov/safestart, or call 311, you can get more information. And then if you have student loans, federal student loans, and you haven't paid them for over 270 days, as in you've defaulted, the Treasury Department can seize part or all of your federal refund. That's something to keep in mind. You can find more info on nyc.gov/student loans. We're almost towards the end, but this is yet another mandate of DCWP, if you will. So we have the consumer protection, worker protection, and financial empowerment. We run over 30 financial empowerment centers. They're structured, the program itself is structured in a similar way to our free tax prep program. So we give grants, we give funds to local nonprofits to operate free financial counseling centers for people. So if you're dealing with debt, or you want to create a plan to pay off your debt, you want to create a spending plan, a savings plan, you want to figure out how to improve your credit score, or how to open a bank account, contact lenders about that. You can do all of that by sitting down with our financial counselors. Something important to remember as well, DCWP also regulates debt collectors. And so we regulate so much that it's often like, if you run into a constituent or a community member who you think has been scammed by a business, it's almost always worthwhile to reach out to us to see if there's something we can do. We have expanded our financial empowerment centers into meaningful places, such as New York City Health and Hospitals. We have locations at Kings County. Medical debt is crushing for many people. And so we want to help our New Yorkers figure out how they can deal with medical debt if they have medical debt, right? Runaway and homeless youth drop-in centers, ready to rent. So many affordable housing applications will have certain financial requirements, documents you have to collect, and things like that. Ready to Rent is a program that is meant to provide financial counseling for those who are looking for affordable housing. It's been very helpful for many NYCHA residents, for example, and many others, honestly. All right, that's it on my end. This is the information for our Community Affairs Department. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email or give us a call.
Ali, thank you so much for your presentation.
All right, do we have any questions?
Yeah, I had a couple. I'm not sure if I missed it, but when is the last day that someone can request for tax preparation? And then additionally, can you apply to get your tax filled out for previous years, or it has to be the current year?
Yes, I think that's a great point that you're bringing up. I must have forgotten to mention it, but yes, there are locations that will help you with previous years, up to 3 years, but that's the limit. Nothing beyond that. So people can amend, for example, if they need to make file amended returns, anything like that, we can help as well. Um, in terms of the last day, so some of our locations get booked up pretty early. And so it's important for people to access the service. We do have a capacity limitation, right? And that mostly coming from volunteers, the number of volunteers we have. I believe we went to a Mets game this year to recruit volunteers. Like it was an announcement or something happening. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which game it was, but so yeah, it's a big effort that we undertake every year to recruit. First of all, recruit the volunteers, and then make sure they're out there in the community. But there is a capacity limit because of that, right? So we encourage people to make appointments as soon as possible. But April, we function until the very last day of taxes. Oh, did you have a question? Or
See, we have a question from our chair, and then we'll go to Nina, our committee member. So Carl?
Thank you very much, Yvette. Ali, thank you very much for the presentation. So two questions. I think I heard you mention that DWCP, that agency regulates debt collectors. If I heard you correctly, could you explain a bit more what you mean by that?
yes, so debt collectors are governed by certain rules and regulations that are in addition to what is offered at the state and federal level. So, for example, harassment and other when debt collectors are engaging are bad actors are engaging in issues like that, our agency can step in, right? So because they're licensed by us, we have some level of accountability that we can put them to. I can share more information. So we have a flyer if that's easier. So I'll send that over to you guys.
Yeah, please do.
On debt collectors.
Yeah,
So I'll
please
be
do.
happy. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I cut you off. My bad. Yeah, keep going, Ali. Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that clarity. Yes, any flyers or links you can send to the district office, yes, please do. So then, because we have a resources tab where we put all that stuff, and so yes, that's definitely helpful. And then the second thing too was you also mentioned that the agency has sites and like shelters and things like that. And so one of the things I was thinking of was just it's been a minute. I think New York City Public Schools, I think they have a classification for some students that's students with temporary housing. And so I'm just thinking of whether or not that agency does have relationships with that office in the New York City Department of Education, just to let them know, hey, we have resources and we provide resources to these groups. And so it's a question out there. Like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
have the answer,
Uh,
but it's
Something I didn't
maybe
mention.
it's something you can check with some colleagues just to see if there is a relationship between the agency and that office in New York City Public Schools that does specifically deal with that population of students with that housing
Sure.
situation.
I don't know from the top of my head, but something we have a program that we've been piloting is the Youth Financial Literacy Program, where we are
Okay.
permanently stationing financial counselors at 19 public schools. I can share more information about that as well. So we're hoping that that financial education becomes a part of DOE and part of the schools that we have, because kids are these are skills that they need to know before they become adults.
Got it. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it on both fronts.
Nina?
Yes. For those of us who don't qualify income-wise, how can we get the name, or do you have any kind of referral service for accountants or whatever certified tax preparation people that we could go to who are reliable? Because, you know, I mean, I'm sure that many people have had some sketchy experiences or just experiences where things weren't done properly and then they get hit with, a notice from the government, you owe, $1,000 and they're like, what? So, yeah, so that's just my
Mhm.
question because, some of us need accountants, but we
Yeah.
earn too much to use this program.
No, thanks, Nina. Thanks for the question. So something that we try to do, I mean, part of the presentation for that reason is consumer rights. What are some of the telltale signs you should be aware of when you visit um, uh, a public accountant? So including credentials, are they credentialed, right? That's one of the important factors as well. But what I'll do after the meeting is we try to make these things accessible because the meeting is virtual. I will actually share the flyer that we have. It's called the Consumer Bill of Rights um, for tax preparation. And that details really all of the things you should be on the lookout for. But we don't have a directory per se where we can say, oh, this person is trustworthy or not in the private sector.
Hmm. So none of your people that are doing tax prep on a volunteer level are also doing, professional tax prep or something like that.
Yeah, some of them might be, but I think we don't have that sort of relationship where we can refer,
Uh, okay,
given the nature of the city work.
understood. Thank you.
And then I have a question in terms of when you were mentioning the fees that the tax preparers can charge. Is there a good gauge or a guide in terms of a sliding scale of what a tax preparer could charge to someone to prepare taxes?
That's a great question too. I guess to better understand whether you're being overcharged, right? Is that sort of the
Right.
I see. So, I mean, we conducted a study last year and found that most people spent, on average, New Yorkers spent $350 on their taxes last year. But I will have to see if we have more detailed data on that. It's possible that we do, but I'll have to reach out to our Office of Financial Empowerment to get more detailed data.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions?
Just quickly, Ollie, we'll make sure that we have a invitation to the youth conference out to you. I just looked, I thought, if you want to come to our youth conference on March 11th, 3:30 to 6:30 at the Flatbush Y, we get about 300 to 400 young people between the ages of 14 and 21. And if it's something that you think you all at DCWP could cover in order to expose them to your financial literacy programs for teens, it could be a great opportunity for you and for young people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be there. You mentioned March 11th, so I'll put it down. We can have the discussion later too, if that's
Yep,
easier.
I'll email you. I'll email you the registration and you know where to find
That,
me with any
that's
questions.
perfect. Yes,
Cool.
that's
Thank
perfect.
you.
We our engagement outreach team is very aware of the different demographics that we assist, right? So we have special flyers, special engagement materials for example, our older adults. We have also for younger adults. We also have for immigrants. We tend to try to aim our resources in a strategic way.
Ali, thank you so much for this presentation. And we look forward to seeing you at the Youth Resource Fair on March 11th.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. All right. Take care.
Take care. Now we are on to our last agenda item, which is other business. And so under other business, we'd like to talk about the annual nonprofit roundtable. So in communication with Sean, we were going about some dates, looking at May 13th, 14th, 19th, or 20th. So this is the roundtable that the community board hosts. That brings together all of the nonprofits who are providing services in our community, and some are providing services beyond CB14 and throughout Brooklyn or through the 5 boroughs. And so this is really a wonderful opportunity for the nonprofits to get together, network, share resources, and discuss some challenges. So I know some of you who are longer serving board members have participated at the nonprofit roundtable or have attended. So if anyone has any thoughts or feedback that they would like to share as we start the planning for the roundtable in May, we're looking at the middle of May. I would open the floor to hear any feedback, comments, or questions that anyone has.
Sure. And so I participated, yes, I've participated for the past 2 years. And by participate, I meant like I was basically an MC. I said hello, I thank folks for coming, and then I sat back and I let the professionals professional, if you will. And so I think the things that went well that I saw was having a theme and having some person come in and speak to that theme. And so last year we were graced with Michael Cedillo, who's the executive director of the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit Services. 2 years ago, I'm forgetting this individual's name, but I believe she came from One Brooklyn and she was talking about like fundraising and the way that they look at that stuff. So I thought that was a good idea, and I'm putting that out there. That's something to discuss to continue that, where I have a keynote speaker who discusses something that touches the nonprofits regardless of their services. And then after that's done, then yes, I thought it was good to have the groups, the kind of breakout groups where the various services were talking with each other and discussing some of the challenges and the successes that they're experiencing. So I like that structure. I think that's something good to build off of. And so I'm putting that out there because as the discussions for this move forward, it's just my opinion, right? There's just three things that from where I sat, I thought those went well. So that's something that when the discussions do start to be deeper about the planning for this, those could be three launch points and decide if you want to just run with those or tweak something there and not tweak anything at all. But those are three things that I did see that I thought did stand out to me that they did work well.
Thank you so much, Carl. And I second everything that you just said. I think it's really great when we started having like the theme so that we can have like a topic and focus of the day and have the speakers speak to that theme and have some opportunity for the nonprofits to, break up and connect and network amongst each other and talk about some of their wins and challenges.
Yeah, definitely. Probably, I think the best part of the um, nonprofits that I've been to, which is, I don't know, 3 or 4. I don't remember at this point. Um, I know Sean and I just talked a little bit because I asked what the plans were, and I think one of the concerns that we had was, as lovely as OHL was, it was a little cramped.
Yeah.
So what, if anything has moved forward in terms of looking for a place.
Wayne Rosenfeld's more than happy. Actually, he was sad to not host us, so he's happy to be asked to host us again. And yeah, space-wise, it just works out. It was cramped at OHEL. It wasn't conducive to the breakout rooms. I only did it because they paid for lunch. And Wayne can't pay for lunch. So I have to figure out the budget to pay Dovie Zeitlin for catering it. But um, you know, I think back at EMJC, if everybody here is amenable, I'll pursue that conversation and nail down a date with Wayne. And those were the dates that he did have clear.
What were those dates again, Sean? I'm sorry, I didn't get them.
It's May 13th, 14th, 19th, and 20th.
And frankly, the 12th could be on there as well. It's just that that was the very day after our board meeting. So maybe I was being selfish and thinking about my own fatigue. But 11th, 12th, 13th, 18th might be okay if we wanted a Monday. Mondays just feel weird. 18, 19, 20. And then we're getting close to Shavuos, which begins, I think, the night of the 22nd.
Yeah, what I don't. What days of the week are like the 13th, 14th?
13th is Wednesday, 14th is Thursday. The 19th is Tuesday, the 20th is Wednesday. And then brainstorm on some good keynote speakers. I mean, I'll put my antennas up. I feel like sometimes, like throughout the year, I think of something comes my way and I think they'd be a good keynote, and I stash them in a certain pocket in my calendar. So I'll explore that pocket and see what I've stashed there. But you know, we could always have the mayor's office of nonprofit to see if under the new administration there's a shift or a pivot in that. But if we wanted to do something brand new and fresh out of the box, we'll need to brainstorm on that. So we don't have to do it here and now, but just when you're out and about, when things come your way as ideas, let me know. And you can just shoot over an email the minute you think about it so you don't have to bother remembering.
Sounds good. Does anyone else have any other feedback or comments they would like to share?
I think I'd like to add here. I did participate last year and then a couple of years ago too, when I was just a program director at COPO. So I really appreciate it. I think last year, you know, I do want to say having that theme and the breakout sessions, it really helped to, I think, just engage with other people, other organizations who had not heard about us in the district, and vice versa. So that was good. I think for this year, my suggestion would be if we can, I guess, highlight some data, like a community snapshot of like what the data is telling us in the district, like a short presentation about the demands and trends of, I mean, there's been a lot of food pantries that have opened up, youth mental health referrals, case management volume increases, you know, with NYC Aging's recent, you know, grant for the community districts, they had changed that around. And then also just the housing instability trends. I think that I'm just thinking based off of COPO's trends that we see in the reports that we do, but I think generally in the community district, if we can highlight that. Again, like I think many of us have our own agendas, and so just to hear what are the trends, what are the needs, would really help to shape, you know, in the upcoming months when it comes to city applications or fundings.
I think that's great, and taking it from almost like that grant writing perspective, you know, the demonstration of needs and our own district need statements, opportunity to highlight things that we've been requesting for a long time so that there's our own context behind any other keynote context. And in fact, we are all here right now, which means we are all also missing the borough president's comprehensive plan presentation, but a lot of that comprehensive plan is driven by sort of like health indices. And so I'll send around to this committee the grid that Joanne Brown was putting together when the borough president first released the comprehensive plan. Because maybe we can think of these data in regards to this, you know, both the borough president and the city council speaker are talking a lot about comprehensive plans, and, you know, Jarrell as a planner, having some of those health and demographic data behind the idea of a comprehensive plan could be a really cool way to make everybody's with their various, you know, their diversity of missions still fit into one comprehensive plan. But definitely community snapshot, heard. And of the dates we talked about, is there one you want to land on?
I was just looking, Sean, at the Islamic calendar for Eid. I think Eid al-Adha is the week after. So yeah, I mean, as long as it's not the last week of May. You said the 13th to the 20th? Was that what you said, Vet? I'm sorry.
Yes. Potentially
But
the 12th to the 20th.
But also then they're still fasting.
No, fasting is, and I'm talking about Eid al-Adha, the other Eid.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Fasting
yeah,
is
that
done
would
March
be a
20th.
really long fast. Sorry.
Dawn.
Oh, sorry. It's my bedtime.
Yeah, no, I was just I was searching up when the next Eid would be because those are
Okay.
3 days we would be off as well. So no, I think any of those dates would be fine. I think last year it was on a Wednesday, I believe, and it was a great turnout. And yes, I do agree with Nina. It was a bit crowded.
Oh, I have another question for the committee. Not last year, but the year before when we had the breakout tables, we engaged the committee members and other interested board members. So each table had a board member facilitator. Pardon me, not every table needed that because people sort of like dove in and just chatted without being facilitated. But I kind of think it's a cool way to engage more board members in the workings of this event. So, but that's just me. I mean, if we feel like will board members be like, this is cool, I want to do it, or like, ugh, another imposition or another obligation on this board that I already go to 3 meetings a month for.
Well, I'd hop to that. I would say yes, but that's me. I would say yeah, I agree to facilitating. I don't know about others, but I think it's a good idea to get more board members, especially who are part of this committee, to engage more. So yeah,
Yeah.
why not at least throw it out to the committee members and see if they are able to commit. And many of us do run, we are part of nonprofits, so we are attending. I know, like Mr. Rosby usually sends me to attend, or someone from our team. So
Yeah, I think we definitely should broadcast it out. I think we could do that. Just put a feeler out during our next board meeting and the next couple board meetings, and then I know the district office would send an email just to all of our board members seeing who would RSVP. In terms of dates, I'm good for any date except the 20th because that is my girlfriend's graduation.
That is very, very important. You can't miss that. I'm gonna, I guess, stick my neck out of here. I'm not with Human Services Committee, and I haven't heard yet whether my application for reappointment has been accepted yet. But I guess I'm assuming that I'll still be with the board. I certainly have no problem making a day to come and be a board member, to just, I don't know, be a body there, another member from the community.
Nina, I consider you a Human Service Committee member emeritus, so.
Agreed.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so
Sean, the 13th does not work for me.
we're narrowing it down. It's either Thursday the 14th or Tuesday the 19th. I don't, if this matters or not, the 14th is a board meeting week, and the 19th is a week that no other committee meetings would be scheduled, so.
That sounds
maybe the 19th then, right? That would make more sense.
yeah, I like that.
May 19th, everyone's fresh. Okay, I'm gonna pin that down with Wayne Rosenfeld. We'll do it. I have to look back at the hours of this one. I can't remember. It starts early. It's like 10 to 1, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
midday.
And
That's
then
why we have lunch. So it's like the keynote speaker, Q&A, time for lunch, and then the breakouts are while people are eating, and then come back and your share outs from the breakouts.
right. And in terms of lunch, Sean, you said that that's already covered?
No, that I said it, I moved it to OHEL last year because they offered to cover it. And so,
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe not, if we're concerned with budgetary restraints, would be starting it a little bit earlier and doing kind of a breakfasty thing with like coffee and juices and whatever. It's a lot less expensive than having, meat sandwiches and things like that. Just a thought.
Yeah, we can consider that, but I think we can also probably just waiting to see if we're getting another council member allotment. So that's the reason why I'm nervous about it. But assuming that comes through, we should be okay. And then Dovey Zeitland is always good to us. I also thought about, asking people to brown bag it, but then you have to worry about it is a kosher facility, and if people don't tend to have kosher food in their cupboards like what we're doing there. So I think just relying on Dovey is probably the easiest thing to do, and he'll work with us our budget, budget wise. He can maybe charge us a teeny tiny amount for this, with the idea that in the next fiscal year we'll do something that he can kind of overcharge for in order to balance it out.
You could also put out business cards. Plug himself a little bit. Why not?
I mean, I would offer, we have a Copo has their commissary kitchen, so we can offer the halal food option there. I don't know how open they would be to have halal food in their location.
It's an issue, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
Thank you, though, Ozma. I feel
But,
like we've
you know.
leaned on Copo so hard for the youth conference. I start feeling funny.
No,
Government should be giving nonprofits money, not taking nonprofit money for government. It's pretty ugly right now, I think.
For sure.
But thank you. We'll make it work. We always do.
yes, got it. No worries. In terms of last thing, just invitation for keynote speakers, I think there were Sean, one year there was something about like grant writing. I know there was funders, like how to do funding, but there was one year, I don't remember which year it was when I attended a few years ago. There was a keynote speaker who spoke about grant writing, and I think a lot of the smaller nonprofits who do attend don't really have a grant writer, and so that is something that we can look into.
Yeah, I'll look back through. We've had Foundation Library before. We've had the Nonprofit Network before. We've had Lawyers Alliance before. I can see who was, we can repeat somebody if they weren't here just last year, kind of go back into the vault. But I also just feel like so many new dynamic nonprofit support groups have kind of sprung up. And so, yeah, but just everybody give it a think and share thoughts.
You got it.
Okay, great. Let's see, someone writes something in the chat. Oh, it's Carl. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If there are no other comments or feedback, then this concludes our meeting.
Can I make one?
So one left. Yes, Nina, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm going to steal a little bit of Carl's usual thunder because Carl didn't bring it up. USA women's hockey won the gold. Canada took silver. Switzerland took bronze. And it was a magnificent game. Well played by both sides.
So Nina, I wasn't gonna steal your thunder. I'm glad you brought that up, because if you hadn't, I was gonna say something, because I know you love hockey.
It just worked out that my son shared his account so I could get onto Peacock, and only one patient showed up, and it was actually between second period. So I didn't miss much of the game.
Interesting insight into healthcare days.
It doesn't usually happen, but I play ice hockey, and so I'm a little crazy when it comes to that.
Cool.
So
thank you, everybody.
great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you
Have
as
a good
well,
night.
folks.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, folks.